When you look out the window here at the Serpent Lounge at the United Nations headquarters in Geneva, Switzerland, you see a large circle of colorful, glittering objects with a path weaving through. It is a labyrinth constructed with 8,000 PET bottles that I mainly collected from garbage cans at the United Nations, the World Health Organization, and the Botanical Gardens. This is a conservative estimate of the number of plastic bottles going into landfill every second on Earth. Approximately 320 to 400 billion plastic drink bottles are manufactured each year, and only around 20% are recycled. It takes about 450 years for a plastic bottle to degrade, and according to UNEP, every square mile of the ocean has 46,000 pieces of floating plastic in it. For thousands of years, humans have built labyrinths in all parts of the world as symbolic forms of pilgrimage, walking the path to the center to reach salvation or enlightenment. Today we find ourselves facing a threat to humankind of unprecedented magnitude. We are drowning in trash and using vast quantities of raw materials while generating life-threatening pollutants in the process. Although traditionally a labyrinth is a singular path that leads to the center, I designed this labyrinth to resemble both an outline of a hand as well as that of a tree. Both these organic forms are part of an interdependent system.
This is a labyrinth, but not a traditional labyrinth. So what happens is, usually in a labyrinth you walk around in a circle till you get to the center where you're supposed to reach enlightenment. But what I wanted this to be is a handprint, and so that you walk your own hand as well as an organic tree. And the reason I picked a hand is because this is supposed to represent the way humans are imprinting ourselves on the world without really realizing what we're doing, and by walking this path and seeing the sea of bottles that is being created in 1 second, then hopefully people will gain awareness by the time they come out of this path.
I started the piece with a simple idea, to make people aware of plastic bottle waste and to encourage people to reduce, reuse, and recycle. However, I soon realized that these strategies would only slow down the inevitable. Plastic bottles have not been designed with the idea of recycling, so additional chemicals have to be added during the recycling process, and the recycled plastic perhaps gets one more use out of it, such as a bench or a t-shirt, before it ends up in landfill. To reduce, reuse, and recycle are very important steps in dealing with our waste, and this strategy has long been the focus for many environmentalists. However, it is time for us to eliminate the concept of waste altogether. We need to develop solutions that bring environmentalists and industrialists together with the common goals of living harmoniously with our planet and creating human prosperity at the same time. To achieve these goals, we need to redesign our products and packaging from the very beginning. This piece will be on exhibit here at the UN for 30 days. During that time, approximately another 21 billion bottles will be added to landfill. And if I left the piece, it would still be here 400 years later. It would probably outlast the UN. It is my hope that in 20 years I will be invited by the UN to recreate this piece, but instead of having the bottles picked up by a recycling company at the end of the exhibit, I will just scatter the bottles on the grounds of the UN, since they will biodegrade and become nutrients for the soil and plants. The Mexican writer Octavio Paz stated in his essay, The Few and the Many, people recognize themselves in works of art because the works of art offer them images of the hidden totality. My hope is that as people walk the hand tree path through this mass of plastic bottle waste, they will realize that it is time for us to change our habits, to change how we think of waste, and to demand that our governments, our industrialists, and we as individuals invest in redesigning the way we live, since even the smallest innocuous act of buying a drink can accumulate into a massive problem that affects the entire planet.